Hey everybody out there in TV land, welcome back to Backseat Broadcasting. We're here with Apex This Racing. We're here at the Charlotte Roval kicking off our time here. We're doing the MX-5s tonight, as always on Sundays, to start us off with a little bit of fun. So we see Craig Ream, who is pretty dang quick around here at the moment, putting in 133s. We got just a minute and a half really left in practice before we jump into that qualifying session. I'm a little late on the dials over here. Craig a little late on the brakes, makes around that very interesting right-hander there. Let's check out some of the times that the guys are doing right now. And as you can see, he's 0.7 ahead of the rest. Even John Miller is about a full second back there. So we're into our final minute of the practice session. Here is John Miller having a great season himself. Doesn't do any better with that time. I did notice he was a little late to practice. Not that I can really talk. So he's just quite literally coming to grips with this, and that's it for the practice session. And as always, the Apex This race calendar follows the IMSA Endurance Championship on the iRacing calendar, which follows the real IMSA Racing calendar. So this is loosely based off of the correct schedule. I was looking at some videos last night of one of our members who lives in Charlotte, Michael Roy, posting some videos of the IMSA race that he actually got to attend. It was pretty exciting. Very cool to check it out. So let's look at that track temperature. 74 in the air on only 29% humidity out there. John using the liberal limits of the track. It's only a 79%, 79 degree track temp out there. He's going to struggle to heat them up a little bit. And something I really love about these oval racing tracks, I guess road tracks, as he turns it sideways, he's going to lose all that heat that he had in those tires. Try to cook him out of that little section, get him back up to temp. But as you can see, it's technically a counterclockwise track. But just like Daytona, which is an oval track, you switch to the infield and you get a little counterclockwise section of the track to switch it up, and then you switch back to the banking and you are back to the counterclockwise track. Here comes John down to the first chicane here. I didn't see anything written this week about reminding guys to not use that apron on when you come out of that first chicane. What will happen? Looks like everybody I've seen has been using that pretty liberally. It looks like Ken Kruger coming around to start his first hot lap. Unless he's just sending it on this out lap. Looks like a hot one to me. Such a great elevation change on the infield here as you come up to that turn. Try to kiss the barrier if you can on the right side. Come downhill to the left. Got to play with the throttle and miss the barrier on the left side. And step on the gas as soon as you can. But again, you're staring right up at that barrier, the outer banking, and you're really hoping the camber of the road catches you as you come flying around that left-hander. Kent maybe going a little conservative through the chicane. You want to make sure he whacked both of the curbs hard enough. Ooh, here's Edwin not having the best of times through that chicane. I think he managed to save himself from an off track though. Here is Mark Butterfield. He's a new one racing with us. Kent's first across the line with 134.3. He should be able to do better than that. He was in the 133s in practice. With a 133.7 if I recall correctly. Edwin second across the line with 135.9. John Miller does a decent lap of a 135.1. Should see more to come from him. And Craig Ream, as expected, 134.1 puts him in pole position at the moment. Mark Bray crosses the line, slowest overall. So we see Mark just have some issues there. Here's Vincent Wood heading out of the pits. Corey's coming through the oval chicane here. Christopher Perez gets onto the second row temporarily. Corey comes down to the final chicane. It's such an easy place to lose your lap right at the end. He goes third fastest, relegates Christopher Perez down to the third row. Here is Vincent Wood. He's on an out lap. We got Troy Banks cutting across the apron. He's probably going to qualify 7th and get a podium. Watch, mark my words. Really hopping across that that curb there. He's not able to set a time. John Miller does go faster. He does a 134.2. Craig Ream betters his time and gets into the 133s. That's pretty much just a 10th slower than his best time in practices. Troy Banks gets a little bit wide onto turn 3 and 4. He's gonna probably get a off track for that. Even though he is still just pushing that thing around, not caring for those tires. He might still be running. Here's Aji. Goes across the line, only 8th fastest though. Bjorn in the Oldsmobile here, making sure he gets those downshifts. Corey Mitchell goes second fastest with a 134 flat. He gets himself onto the front row. Betters John Miller by 2/10. As I was saying, John was a little bit late to practice here today, so missing a couple. And then Kent Kruger steals that position by, oh my goodness, 17 thousandths. Bjorn Benches might have been on an outlap there. Edwin Martinez bumps himself up to 5th and pulls over and decides that's where he's going to be. Troy Banks sets a time good enough for 7th. Let's get those lap times. Greg Ream betters his time, goes another 10th faster. That looked like Christopher Perez moving himself up to that 7th position. Troy Banks finds himself down in 8th. He was not punished for that off track. We have 2.5 minutes left to go in qualifying. Here's Mark Butterfield going after that 8th position. I think Troy Banks might have just had an off track. He did. I'm not exactly sure where he's heading. the unconventional route around the track, and he's going to park it on the infield and call it a day. What did I say? He was going to qualify 7th. Let's go be on that podium. That's John Miller back up to 2nd place with 133. They're both dipping into the 133s now. Really fighting each other. They might get, if they even won it, this should probably be Corey's final lap, and that'll be possibly John's final lap. Bjorn Benches does get on the board. He goes 8th fastest, relegates Troy down, and then heads for the pits. John sending it into the final chicane. This is where we had a lot of fun between Corey and John last season here at the Roval. If you remember, I think it was Corey. Yeah, he was having some issues with that final chicane. It was not his favorite of this track, and just allowed John to come back at him. And Corey Mitchell abandons that lap. It sounds like he's got all flat tires. And there he is in the pit lane. Christopher Perez and the little pony is still pushing that thing around. He's going to cross the line for the final time. Is he able to do anything better than 7th on the grid? Sends it wide just for shits and giggles, and that's going to be it for him. We have Mark Butterfield currently lying in 10th position, coming across the line for his final time. Is he going to stay 10th? It looks to be that way. No, he relegates Troy Banks down 1 position, and that is it for qualifying as he returns to the pits, and we are in our beautiful 30 seconds of limbo in this race. Let's take a quick look at some memes, right? All right, and we're back on the grid. As expected, we got Craig Ream on pole position, lining up next to John Miller. That should be a great battle there. And then on row 2, we got Corey Mitchell next to Kent Kruger, followed by Vincent Wood, Edwin Martinez. Christopher Perez lines up next to Bjorn Benches, Mark Butterfield in 9th. Troy Banks is in 10th. Then we have Mark Bray and Aji Kandambi, and that should be it for our runners. But we might have a few more. We have Andres Garcia, Federico Toro, James Dean, and Antonio Benitez in the lobby with us. It looks like James Dean actually might be, yes he is, lining up with us this evening. Good to have you here with us. As we await a couple guys to get back out on track. And we have, of course, this lovely the throwback start. It's a bit of a NASCAR start with the guys all stacked up like this to do their outlap. I wish we had, we were doing a standing start here this evening, but the admins don't quite care for that. And it is one of the most difficult places to do a standing start because, as you can see right here, some of the starting grid places just go right through that final chicane because the line is right there. And it's very difficult sometimes to fit your entire race grid onto that tiny little straight. So, 13 runners out on the track. Should have an awesome race here. This is a fantastic track to be running the MX-5s on. It's one of my favorites to run the MX-5s on. The infield is simple but fun and has its nuances. This is debatably the trickiest section of the track, coming up over that hill and losing the weight of your car a little bit, keeping hold of that rear end, and then playing with the throttle pedal around here, missing that barrier that we just saw on the right hand side, and flooring it onto the back straight here as Craig is doing some weaving, heating up his tires before the race. The tricky part is for these guys in the back is they are going to be mid-chicane by the time we go green. Maybe, unless Craig is very, very nice indeed. Waits all the way until that line, but I think we're going to have that green flag even before then. And these guys in the back are going to have some issues. Turn 1 is always very exciting here. We had some excitement last year in the GT1, GT3 class. As well as in the Cadillacs. Oh, the good old CTSV races, those were fun. As we come around NASCAR turn 3 and 4. 4 and 5, I guess. Heading towards 5. I don't even know. NASCAR turns are funny. Coming down, the safety car is going to come in. We're going to watch Craig Ream to see when this pack heads off. John Miller giving him a liberal amount of space, and Corey Mitchell is already ahead of John Miller just on the way things went away. And there is everybody. There's the back of the pack. Craig Ream's going to keep that position. Corey Mitchell sneaks up a little bit. Christopher Perez and the My Little Pony machine, the pink one at the top of this little pack here, sneaked up 2 positions from the start. Mark Butterfield has done the same. Here's John Miller trying to get beside Corey, using that slipstream, and Craig Ream is falling down to 3rd position. He had an issue maybe in turns 3 and 4. Corey is your race leader, followed by John Miller. So we saw a lot of that last season as John's getting very tight to Corey around this turn. Onto the back straight, he's going to get a great tow out of there. Oh! It looks like James Dean was having some issues there. He's made up a couple positions. And here the guys come down to the first chicane. Lovely to see almost everybody. Oh, just as I say that commentator's curse, I was about to say having a mildly clean first lap. You can hear the crunch in the distance. John Miller takes to the inside, is giving Corey no quarter there, just like last season. Is going to shove him into that turn. He's going to have to let him go for turn 3 here. Just didn't have the purchase out of turn 2. And that has allowed Craig Ream just barely to catch up to this race. Here's riding along with Craig Ream. He sees these guys just in front of him. He's got to be disappointed. that's the wall you want to miss, and then you hit the gas and you're just staring at that outer barrier. Here's Craig getting a great run on John Miller just ahead of him, who did not get the best run on Corey. And Craig abandons this overtaking opportunity early. He just wants to give John something to think about, and he did. As you can see John Miller in the top of the screen there goes off straight. He's going to get a big slowdown for that. As you can see him just lose out on the top of the screen there. And Craig's got one back. 0.7 up to Corey. Oh, and poor Christopher Perez, after having that great start, has fallen down to the back of the pack at the moment. Oh, and that is John Miller. Still dealing with his slowdown penalty, or I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's decided that he's not going to win the race anymore. He's abandoned the leaders and has decided to do the back to front challenge. No, maybe he's answering a phone call or something. So at the moment, we actually have 15 runners on the grid. I think a couple guys started from the pit lane and started to spice it up here for us. Right to the back, unfortunately, is Christopher Perez. Oh, and that is Vincent Wood just punting James Dean there. Oh, and just what Vincent was just had so much more speed coming out of there, and there was almost nothing he could do but send himself into the barrier. Yeah, James Dean was just going a little too slow for him there, unfortunately. Back up top, that battle for the leads down to 0.4. Craig is starting to put Corey under a bunch of pressure now. It's right on with him. See what he can't do. He's taking a very inside line here. He has got Corey's attention, to say the least. And Craig might get this job done here. You could just hear the sound. He got back on that throttle a little bit before Corey did, and he's getting just a great run down the oval section here. But he gave up on this section with John just a moment ago. He does not give up here. He's scraping along the wall, the outer barrier, and that is the one way to slow your car down. He still retains that right side mirror. Kent Kruger is currently running in third place. And Craig's going to have the inside of this next turn. He's just barely nosing out Corey here. And Corey a little bit braver on the brakes, but they give each other room more or less. Corey says, hey, we can both play that game. A hop a curb. He might get a slowdown for that because that was just so brutal over that curb. It doesn't look like it though. Maybe he has, and Ken Kruger's all over his bumper now. Going back to Troy Banks. Looks to have so much more purchase than Bjorn Benches. Bjorn putting his car in all the right places, just hogging the middle of the road. It doesn't help that Kent Kruger just put in his best lap of the race. Oh, and that is Troy Banks getting around Bjorn Benches. Let's see what happened to Bjorn there. Looks like he just had an issue back there. That is the most technical part of the racetrack. As I said, very easy to make mistakes there. These are your top 3 podium positions here. Head out of the first chicane. And go to complete lap 4, lap 5, I don't know. We'll see in just a moment. It's 5 laps down. That's Vincent Wood closing up on Aji Gambi after his little spill with James Dean. Oh, he gets to that inside and really throws it in there. There's John Miller getting by Kent Kruger. Has an issue. Oh, it's a crash. It's a crash. Just playing with that throttle pedal. You got to get that part right. And of course, he's going to turn it around for good measure as well. He'll lose himself tons of time. That's got to be so frustrating. Oh, we have another battle for the slowest admin. Rematch. Oh, I'm sorry, Kent. That's got to be real frustrating. He had a podium position. He's been quick all night. And he's going to force Bjorn into a mistake here. Oh, Bjorn goes spinning around behind him. Oh, it's Federico Del Toro makes himself by. Bjorn still has that mirror. Christopher Perez has at least made up a few positions. That's Mark Bray just ahead of Vincent Wood still. John Miller having, pulled over because he dropped his cigarette or something in his lap. Finds himself right on the back of a podium position yet again. Behind him is Troy Banks, already up to 5th. What'd I tell you about Troy Banks? Oh, but he did not have a good exit. Now he's got Kent Kruger all over him. Kent's going to get this job done by the end of it. And he's got some fire under his seat, too, after making that mistake last lap. And that's Mark Bray losing out to Vincent Wood there. Oh, wrong person. As Kent Kruger is going to get that job done. John making the move into turn 1 and making it stick as well. Further back, that's Mark Bray getting passed by Christopher Perez on the back straight. Geez, Edwin here and Troy are almost running the same paints. They're 4th and 6th. They're so close together. I get a little confused. So Troy relegated down one place to 6, but he's still up 4 this evening. Federico Del Toro. You can see them just in the distance. He's up 7 this evening, and Andres Garcia has found himself up 5. Having some great races from these guys. There's not lonely races either. Everyone's getting after it, as Edwin Martinez is not too happy about losing that position to John, and a lap later they are still neck and neck around this track. Oh, and that's so easy coming, as I was saying, that's a really difficult final turn to a race, and that mirror, that's good, that's my good litmus test. It's just, is your mirror still attached? And that thing is holding on by the automatic wires, I think. Because coming on to the oval section from this infield section is great place, as we saw, to lose your mirror. Coming right here as you play right there with your throttle pedal. And the last turn of the track is so easy to get wrong. But Andres Garcia has caught up to Federico Del Toro. Now they're both up 6 apiece, as he's going to make this happen and come back over to the racing line. Federico takes to the inside, decides better of it though. Thinks he's just gonna get outbrake there. It's a great little battle here. Here's Ken Kruger, Edwin Martinez, and Troy Banks. About getting a scuffle, as John Miller manages to pull 3 seconds up the road from Edwin Martinez this lap. And now Edwin, after maybe some issues with that wall, has slowed him up a bit, and this is also a very high-speed track for a not very aerodynamic car, and you definitely start to notice a lot of the bodywork malfunctioning. It is vital for the oval section of the track, as Troy Banks falls back just slightly on Ken Kruger here. It went from about 0.8 to 1.7 real quick here, as he's out of the slipstream, does not get a good exit from that. Edwin Martinez, though, is being hunted down. And Ken Kruger's got down to about half a second there. And he's going to make this happen very easily. He's going to get the inside of this next chicane. And if he doesn't, oh, come on, bleachers. Oh, and Edwin gives him a little punt. Kent did really well to cover off the cutback there and just put his car in the way. Edwin had to honestly take some evasive action. He should have known that was coming, and he wasn't going to get that switchback. Kent was not necessarily out of control, but, you know, he didn't have the most control, and getting back through that chicane quick as can be was never going to be an option. Edwin gives him a little tap for good measure. Now he's got Troy Banks to deal with, who's just a half a second back. If you're wondering what's going on up top, look at the top of the screen. Craig Ream still leading. He's got 2.6 on Corey, and they've got another 13 seconds on John Miller there. Here's Troy Banks. It looks up. You can see the damage there on that side of Edwin's car. He does have some damage. He's struggling on the oval section of the track, and this is gonna just have him fall right down the order. He manages to outbrake Troy in there and makes that apex just ahead of him. Troy does well to avoid him coming in as Andres Garcia up 6 positions, as we had talked about. Comes and now attacks Troy. He gets that move done easily into turn 2, just throwing it in there. Both of them losing the rear end. Troy losing speed because of it. And, Andres just getting the edge of traction out of turn 1. And got such good purchase. He's up 7 positions. He's in 6th. And that's unfortunate for Troy. Oh, he went right from having 5th place with Edwin here, which I was positive he was going to get on the back part of the oval there, to dropping a place down to 7th. Now he's 1.7 behind Edwin. He's battling with Ken Kruger a moment ago. Oh, heavens! Oh. Oh my. I don't know what to say. Except we might have to roll that one back. Apparently there was no accident, so there's nothing to show. Oh, we're gonna roll all this back real fast. Hold on. Let's see exactly what we had happen in this final chicane. Can we? Oh, is Edwin? Oh, Andres just real out of control there. Now they both have a ton of damage. Here is live, so Edwin retains that position. His car is not looking great. Front end, right side, rear end, all taking damage during this race. Andres has now got a, must have some sort of, significant damage as he taps the wall, which is kind of what you're aiming for, but, and both of them just having to get off the throttle there to accommodate for Edwin's line through that section. Very tricky. They all make it through. Here's Andres trying to make this move stick this time. Like I always say, nobody uses the slipstream long enough. You gotta use it until the last second, almost until you can shake and bake him. He's gonna get that move done on the outside. Oh, and oh heavens! Troy makes up the 2 positions. Federico Del Toro follows him through. Oh, that was unfortunate. Oh, big bummer for him. Andres back down 3 positions there. Finds himself in 8th. Federico Del Toro, though, is already ahead of Troy Banks. He must have just got the best jump out of that chaos behind them. Moves up ahead of Troy. He's up 9 positions this evening. Finds himself in 5th. Well done, Federico. That has Troy running in 6th once again, up 4. Back up top, Craig Ream. Wow. He is already going through that chicane. Corey is not that far back behind him, but just is not able to stay with him. It's John Miller, currently running in 3rd. He's back in the podium positions. Kent Kruger in 4th. Oh, did Edwin have... Oh, Edwin's car is not looking fantastic, and Oh, please don't tag that wall. Goodness. Oh, and he's just going to lose it because of the camber of the road. Goodness gracious. That car cannot take any more abuse at the moment. He's barely hanging in there. Ken Kruger's in fourth. He's 5 seconds off podium position. He's managed to pull off. Oh! And Federico Del Toro seems to have an issue. I don't exactly know what happened to Federico there. Maybe got a little bored, wanted to chase Troy for a while. He just outbraked himself altogether. He just couldn't get his car working. So at the moment, Craig Ream is still up top, followed by Corey Mitchell, John Miller, Ken Kruger, Troy Banks, Federico Del Toro. We're watching at the moment, followed by Andres Garcia. Oh, and Edwin Martinez does head for the pits, by the way. Vincent Wood, Christopher Perez, Mark Bray, and Edwin Martinez. He is in the pits. He has not left and retired yet. Thank goodness. As Craig Ream brings us around to complete yet another lap. We got 16 remaining on the clock. And as we start, we've done 15 laps here already. Christopher Perez is only 2 down from where he started in 7th position. So after that bad first lap that really set him back and gave him some damage, and he had some traffic to deal with, he's making his way back up there. He's got Vincent Wood just ahead of him. That should be very doable pass for him if he can get up there. He's been faster than Vincent all race. As we see Federico there, pretty consistent, only a second now off of his best time. As is Troy Banks putting in some good laps here. He's managed to escape the drama of everyone else. You see him lose a position here or there, but he stays out of the weeds. Finds himself in 5th place currently. Whoa, a little deep into this chicane. That's going to be all the invite that Federico needs. And it's down less than half a second now for these two. Federico, though, not able to, not as speedy on the straights. Troy muscles that back into position. Here is Christopher Perez, who has caught up to Vincent Wood. Got down to less than half a second now. But he's not closing on the straights as much as you would think. Got down to 0.3, but not. He's much faster on the infield section, so this is where he's got to make it count and really get closer to make that pass possibly on the straights. But we've seen some great overtaking moves happen on the infield here. And this is just about where Michael was sitting when he was recording his video. If Troy just sort of went off into the barrier right there on the left side, that's where Michael was filming the IMSA race from. That's where he and his son was seating. It's pretty cool to watch. It's Christopher Perez. He hasn't made up that little bit he needed to on the infield section. And Federico Del Toro is going to get that done. Troy does not fight him. He saw that one coming, but perhaps he braked early and is taking a very different line through that chicane. I figure the left, right, left would really only have one way through it, but making it look easy. Craig Green running with a impressive 6.5 second lead over Corey Mitchell, who has equally as impressive lead over John Miller in third. Oh, and they're coming up to some lap traffic here. I believe that's James Dean in front of them. And this is going to be a big issue, and he's not really conceding. It is for the faster lap cars to make their way around, although it would be very nice if James didn't get in the way for too many corners. Let's Chris close that gap a little bit. Let's see how he gets this exit from the final turn. It's not terrific. He's 0.4 down. He's got to stay in that slipstream, but he doesn't. These guys are taking an outer line. These cars really do benefit a lot from the slipstream because they just don't have the horsepower for the top end. So any little extra push that these things can get to get moving and fight their air resistance really mean a lot to them. Little four bangers with a governor or a restrictor plate on them. Oh, and Chris smells his opportunity now. And into the final turn, he gets his nose in there, and by turn one, he has got it done. Federico Del Toro cannot get rid of Troy Banks, though. He's still hot on his heels, just 0.3 back. We have less than 10 minutes to go here, about 8.5. Oof, we're going to get about 5 more laps out of this race. Troy really gets a decent exit from that, looked like. Federico is able to retain so much speed. Troy does not stay in that slipstream, but he's getting a run on him just by taking the better line and having what I call a better exit, because he had an apex to say, although it's a sketchy apex because you don't want to hit the concrete barrier. And Troy might have him here. Oh, and that's Banks on the inside is going to get that done. gets a great bit of speed as well. As these two were still battling on that back straight. Oh, goodness. Vincent does not want to give this up. He's just going to be late onto the brakes. He's going to get it back into turn one, and they just leapfrogging each other back and forth. This is a great little battle to tie up this race with. John Miller, he's on. He's got Kent 3.5 behind him. And then, yeah, that's, oh, it's Troy Banks with Andres Garcia coming up out of nowhere. I didn't even see him on the board in this mess. And then I don't know what had happened there. Oh, and just as I say that, Kent Kruger crashes. Andres Garcia makes his way through past Federico Del Toro. Troy Banks is in 5th. That's what he is after. You call that a crash, man? Here they come. Federico Del Toro already a second behind them. Really losing out there. Christopher Perez is losing that position back to Vincent Wood here. He's going to give it another go. Oh, and Troy loses it on such a tricky final chicane, as I always say. And Christopher Perez is even getting by him. Troy Banks back on track. Federico Del Toro comes into the pits. I don't know if he is retiring, getting some tires. Had an incident. I don't know. He's getting some tires. He's running to the bathroom momentarily. This battle rages on. Unfortunately, Troy Banks, that's going to lose him a couple. It's going to lose him 3 to be exact. So that's Andres Garcia, Vincent Wood, and Christopher Perez making it by. Relegates him down to 8th. And he's 5 seconds off of these guys. As we're just under 5 minutes remaining in the race. Breaking himself a little bit into that chicane, really starting to feel these tires. 37. I could see the number in my head. 36 is Christopher Perez scrapes that wall just slightly coming out of that final chicane. Very tricky. Oh, these guys are definitely feeling these tires now. But they are also being very brave, which is making me happy. This is a great spectacle out here. And they're both able to hold on to it. Vincent Wood leads from Christopher Perez. And you can just see how much more grip Perez has in the infield there. He is missing that right mirror, though. Means he's probably got a little bit more damage on that right side of the car. Could be affecting his aerodynamics on the back straight here. He's trying very hard to stay in the slipstream. 3 minutes remaining. Craig Ream, oh my God. Holding ace. He's like already back onto the oval section. It's just a great scrap going on lap after lap. sure as not doesn't feel very comfortable to either driver. And looking back, you're happy that you have some competition. Oh, as they're coming up on Aji there. He's going to be a back marker for these two. And he pulls to the apex inside. And, oh, Chris almost loses it to avoid him. And loses a little bit of time to Vincent there. Says, thank you very much. And the squeal of the tires is really coming into effect here. As we should see Craig Ream somewhere on the infield. Here he is on turn 1 coming in. So let's see if he's still doing 135s. We should have use your head. 3 more race laps here. This lap and then 2 more after this. As he loses out a little bit. Further back, Troy Banks is not doing fantastic. Still lost more time. He was about 5 seconds back just a moment ago, and now he finds himself about 8.5. Here's Edwin Martinez. He did get all patched up. And Federico Del Toro has retired from this race. Unfortunate. Here's your race leader, Craig Ream, coming around the oval. You know, I can't count. We might have one more. That's what I meant to say. Smartman. And it looks like we're going to. Unless he stomps on the brakes here and gives us some relief, but with 10 seconds on the clock, he goes across. Come on, Corey, Bennett on the last lap. Let's have a battle out with John Miller. He's got to lose 14 seconds. Really well using the entire track. Concrete walls on either side on that turn. You got to get it just right. As you are understeering into that section. Christopher Perez coming around turn 3 and 4. Still following Vincent Wood. These guys are going to battle it out for this last lap here. And I'll be surprised if Christopher doesn't go for a move he probably shouldn't, as we have a checkered flag out there for our race winner, Craig Ream, who crosses that line. Corey Mitchell is going to come in second. Let's go back to that little battle on the oval section. And Perez is going to give it everything he's got. We have John Miller in 3rd place, Kent Kruger in 4th, Andres Garcia is going to take 5th. And then we are deciding who's going to take 6th. It appears to be Vincent Wood at the moment. Christopher Perez is not going to throw it in there very politely. He's going to cross the line in 7th. All right, and we got Troy Banks in 8th place. He's going to bring it home back there for us. And James Dean is going to bring it home in 10th position. Very well done, James. Moving up 5 positions, finishing just behind Edwin Martinez there in 9th. Ozzy finished 11th, and Federico Del Toro retired in 12th. Let's take a quick look at the rundown again. We got Craig Green, your pole sitter and race winner, followed by Corey Mitchell. John Miller makes his way back up to 3rd, well done, followed by Kent Kruger, who manages to finish 4th, well done as well. Andres Garcia in 5th, amazing effort, followed by Vincent Wood, Christopher Perez, Troy Banks, Edwin Martinez, and James Dean. And we have Aji Kandambi, Federico Del Toro, Mark Bray, Bjorn Benches, Mark Butterfield, and Antonio Benitez. As always, please make sure to never subscribe to my channel. Hit that thumbs down and make sure you hit the little bell button an even number of times. And here are your podium winners this evening. Make sure you join us again here at the Charlotte Roval on Thursday for the real IMSA thing. We're doing the LMP2s and the GTEs again on Thursday. That's always a fun one. We got a huge turnout the last couple weeks. It's been a very awesome race to do. I've been enjoying them very much so look forward to it, and I will see you all back here on Thursday.